that San Francisco or the San Francisco Reparations Committee has proposed a $5 million payment to each black resident.
It sounds good, right?
Yeah, if this proposal were to go through, that would grant a one-time payment of $5 million to each eligible black resident. Mm-hmm. How many happy people do you think that, or how many hopeful happy people do you think there are right now in San Francisco?
So I've already read this article, so I'm gonna answer the question as if I hadn't, right? Hearing that, you would think it would sound like something that was good.
Absolutely.
You know, especially if you know you have, because as we get into the article, we're going to explain this, but they said each black eligible resident because they have certain criteria that you have to meet. You know
Absolutely.
What I'm saying? So, but if niggas fit the criteria for whatever that it is, of course, absolutely, I want to see them get their one-time payment of $5 million. We deserve more than that. That's chump change. So, yeah.
You want me to read through some of the eligibility?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Requirements?
That's why I said, go ahead. It's a lot, man.
To be eligible for these reparations, San Francisco residents must be 18 years or older, have been identifying as black or African American on public documents for at least 10 years, and meet 2 out of 8 of the additional criteria, including having been born or migrating to the city between 1940 and 1996, as well as showing proof of at least 13 years of residency, having been incarcerated by the failed war on drugs, or being the direct descendant of someone who was being a descendant or who was affected by the war on drugs, being a descendant of someone who was enslaved by the U.S. chattel before 1865, having been displaced between 1954 or 1973, or being a descendant of someone who did, being a part of a marginalized group who experienced lending discrimination between 1937 and 1968, or in formerly redlined communities within the city between 1968 and 2008, according to the committee's plan. Okay,
so you remember earlier I said I'm going to answer it as if I hadn't read the article. So now that we've gotten through the article, I feel like a lot of that shit is fucking. How are you going to prove that?
It's not going to happen.
Exactly. How can you prove that shit? What are we talking about?
And
what are we talking about?
Yeah.
How can I show you? How can I put on paper I'm affected in all of that shit you just mentioned? How can you put that on paper?
Now, what I will say, Corey, number one, this is not going to be passed. They're never going to give niggas $5 million a piece, because if they see this happen in one city, everybody's going to want this shit. But what I will say is, Corey, if you were incarcerated due to drugs during the war on drugs era, that's one. And if you can prove you migrated to the city between 1940 and 1996, and showing that you had lived there for at least 13 years, that's a couple easy ones. You could take care of that one real easy and be over 18 years old, black, and have documents.
Okay. Yeah, because it says only 2 of 8 additional criteria.
Yeah, 2 out of the 8. Now, if you're looking for a fucking descendant of yours that was enslaved,
like how can
and nigga, that's bullshit, because all of us have fucking,
like, come on, let the church say amen.
Are we being for real right now?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that shit was, that's why
everybody here that's black has descendants that were enslaved.
Come on now. But yeah, I guess I missed that part. 2 out of the 8, that makes sense. Those 2 that you name, I can see how we can prove that. So if it is something that gets passed, like, I agree with you, not something that's going to get passed more than likely. But if it does, man, if people are able to meet the criteria, get $5 million, I think that's good. That can probably still change lives, obviously, you know, generation. That's generation type money if you play it the right way. So hopefully it happens, bro.
What I will say, another one is, like, if you were in one of those red line communities. So that'll be a pretty easy one. It's not happening, Corey. You can bet your last money you're not getting that fucking money. So don't bet your last money. because you're going to need that.